You've seen their work all over. Rockin Company, they are making Colorado beautiful with natural stone construction for 5 decades, and they bring us Rockin Company's Rockin CU with Adam Munsterteiger from BuffStampede.com. We have Adam on the line at AdamCM777. Also brought to you by Zadie's Deli, knocking it out of the park. Those great sandwiches, stuffed with corned beef. Great lunch down there with my grandson Mikey and Pastor Ray this week. Other deli treats. They have them all. Free parking front and back in Cherry Creek, 121 Adams Street, and they cater. And welcome, Adam.
Good morning, Michael. How are you?
I'm swell. You've just run a race. Is that correct?
That's correct. A little tune-up for the Boulder later this month. So I realized I got to lay off the best through the next couple of weeks, but it was a pretty good race.
So it was a learning exercise.
Yeah.
Learning the hard way, it sounds like.
But we'll be good. If you haven't done the Boulder, you don't really even have to be a runner. You can walk it. It's one of my favorite events every year on Memorial Day. It's pretty amazing. You get to walk through the Boulder streets, and everyone comes out and cheers you on, and there's all these fun activities. So I definitely recommend it for anybody that hasn't done it before.
Well, hopefully the guys who are laying off the beer already, not waiting for your lead here, are the guys from the Buffs who were not drafted but who were picked up as free agents. Let's talk about their chances.
Yeah, well, Josh Tupou, we had talked about on your show last week.
He's a guy I thought should be drafted, yeah.
Yeah, and my expectation was that maybe 7th round for him, and unfortunately for him that didn't happen. But, sometimes as an undrafted free agent, you can kind of pick your spot, and he picked the Cincinnati Bengals, which I was a little surprised just in the sense that they apparently run a 4-3, which I thought, given what Josh Tupou did as a nose tackle in CU's 3-4 last year, that would be a good role for him. But apparently Bengals do like to have kind of a speedier inside guy and then a really big stout guy, so certainly Josh Tupou would fill into that stout mold. We'll see how that goes. I would say of the undrafted free agents, you would probably say he's got the best chance of hanging on and having a long career in the NFL.
And then after him, we've got Jimmy Gilbert. Really loved his game. What a senior year, but light for the position he plays.
I haven't seen all the numbers on this, but when he signed, he had one of the biggest financial rewards on that undrafted free agent contract. So certainly the 49ers like him. You see the 49ers also give minicamp invites to Alex Kelly and Samson Capovalo, and of course they drafted Akella Witherspoon. So John Embry is actually the assistant head coach out there, the tight ends coach as well, for Buff, obviously. And so you can call them the San Francisco Buffaloes, I guess. They quite a few guys out there.
Very, very good. Anybody else who's going to camp?
Well, you've got Seth Lufau, who was signed as an undrafted free agent with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then Kenneth Olobode with the Cleveland Browns. It's going to be tough for those guys to hang on at the next level, but if you have that opportunity, you take advantage of it, and you try to do as well as you can. So we'll see how those guys do. And
no prospects for Samson Capovalo.
Well, he's with the 49ers as well. He got a mini-camp invite. It's tough. When you see undrafted free agents, sometimes those guys stick around. Like Kenneth Crawley last year, I don't think many people thought he was going to stick in the NFL, and he actually got quite a bit of playing time as a rookie last year. So you never know. But those mini-camp invites, that's a pretty steep hill to climb to try to make an NFL team.
This sounds like the offseason. Spring football ended early, as it did last year at CU. But this is a huge recruiting and evaluation time for the football program.
It is. From mid-April through the month of May, your assistant coaches are on the road for much of that month and a half. They call it the spring evaluation period, and you go out, kind of lay the groundwork for your recruiting. Now, the way the process has gotten accelerated, instead of now just evaluating, you're feeling the pressure to offer a lot of these kids. Of course, right now we're talking class of 2018 guys that will sign. Well, I guess now with the early signing period in December and of course in February, you see a little bit of a change-up with the turnover on the defensive staff. Of course, Jim Leavitt and Joe Tumpkin spent quite a bit of time recruiting out in Florida because they had ties out there. You saw Charles Clark, who's gone as well, recruit out in Georgia. With those guys no longer on staff and 3 new defensive assistants, you've seen DJ Elliott, Ross Ells, and Shadon Brown all helping out in already established recruiting territories for CU. And, of course, that's Texas and California in their backyard here in Colorado. So now you've got 8 of the 9 assistant coaches spending time in California, and then 6 of the 9 assistants spending time in Texas. So kind of going back to kind of where their bread had been buttered for so many years, and you're not going to quite see quite as many guys from the South. They had, I want to say, about half a dozen guys from the South come in the previous 2 years. I don't think you're going to see that quite as much going forward. And you've also seen an emphasis with junior college guys.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up. As Colorado suddenly turning into Kansas State, junior colleges repopulate that program every year and almost seem to be a majority in the Kansas State program, but they don't have the same academic requirements.
Well, they don't, but actually a few years ago, there were some changes in the requirements for junior college transfers in terms of academics. And so no longer were you able to bring in, if you're at Kansas State, no longer were you able to bring in JUCO guys that had a bunch of D's on their transcript, a ton of physical education credits. There was the GPA was bumped up to 2.5, and there was a limit on the physical education credits that you could transfer over. So all of a sudden, there were more junior college prospects that fit into the mold that CU could bring in, because CU didn't change their requirements in terms of the junior college guys they could bring in. Now they're still having to look at transcripts of these junior college guys, but the pool of JUCO guys that they can go after has changed drastically in the last 3 years. And then they've also made it an emphasis, because they're trying to keep this an upperclassman-laden football team. You saw last year them have so much success, and a big part of that was that they had over 40 upperclassmen on scholarship. Right now, if you look towards the 2017 season, they're projected to have 39 upperclassmen on scholarship, of course, barring any post-spring semester attrition. But then you kind of look going forward, and their sophomore class right now only has 13 players on scholarship. So if they don't stock up on some junior college players this recruiting cycle, they're going to have a young team in 2018, which obviously McIntyre and the staff is trying to avoid. So that's kind of the reasoning behind them being able to go after some more JUCO guys, and then also the emphasis for them this recruiting cycle.
A method to the madness. Let's give the hoops a little time. Chauncey Billups contributed his younger brother Rodney to the program. Now Rodney's doing a terrific job at University of Denver, but he's stayed involved, and he's sponsoring the alumni team.
He is, yeah. It's a tournament that's really started to kind of gain popularity. It's called the Basketball Tournament. Not the most original name there. They shortened it to the TBT, which actually has television coverage on ESPN. And so Chauncey Billups is serving as their booster, because even though there's a $2 million prize if you win this thing, which is obviously the incentive for these teams to play in it, you got to pay your way. You got to pay for your travel. I believe even your uniform. So he's stepped up to the plate and helping them out. And this was the Colorado alumni TBT team actually made it to the championship game last year and had a sizable lead in the basketball game, so close to $2 million. Tad Boyle traveled out to New York to support the team, and he said that he's never seen a more devastated locker room in his coaching career. So they're trying to reload this year. They added Josh Scott, Chris Copeland, David Harrison, added some size to the roster. Going to couple that with the guys that made it to the championship team last year. Marcus Hall was fantastic in the tournament last year.
Yeah,
Richard Roby was doing well before he got hurt. Dominique Coleman, Austin Default. So they got a really good team and a real chance.
Adam,
you can follow them at Twitter at TBT Colorado.
Give me one thing to look forward to quickly in BuffStampede.com this week.
We just finished up our spring reviews of the offensive positions, and actually tomorrow in Boulder we're going to be shooting our defensive position previews, so look for that in the coming days.
Thank you. He's Adam Munsterteiger, BuffStampede.com. Must reading. Thank you, Adam.
Thanks, Michael.
Take care. It's Rockin Company's Rockin CU, brought to you by Zadie's Deli.